Shalom Chaverim. We're continuing with Chovat HaTalmidim, the summary chapter. I'm going to start in the middle of page Kuf Memhe 145, where he says the following: Im yadata b'cha shasite ez davar shelo kehogen, if you know that you did something that was improper, o shelo lamata b'yom hazeh kehogen, or that you didn't learn well today. Keep in mind he's speaking to young yeshiva students. You should give yourself rebuke verbally, out loud. It has more power than thinking. Va'amar, and say, and then he quotes in Yiddish, and then the translation into Hebrew is Ma'asiti, what did I do? Madua hitnahaguti kol kach yeruda, why is my behavior so lowly? Harei ani mepil et atzmi l'shol tachtit chas v'shalom, I'm knocking myself down into the depths of hell, God forbid. That's the end of the quote of what you should say to yourself. I assume that's just an example. It doesn't have to be those exact words. Kefol divrei atochacha alecha bekas eze pamim, say this to yourself a few times angrily. V'avim mekabel atzmecha lihitnaheg me'ata hanagat tova, and then accept upon yourself that from now on you're going to behave properly. I want to read the next one right away. As we've pointed out, and here we'll see a very good example of this, I've said to you repeatedly that he's speaking here to young teenage boys, yeshiva students, and that I think that for older people things would be different. So the next piece, which is kind of a continuation of this one, that becomes very clear as you'll see shortly. So the next piece says, Im kashelocha lefamim litgaber be'eza davar. If there's something that you have a yetzer hara, you have a taiva, you have a desire for which you know is improper, kigon lehitchazek v'lo lehitatzel, for example, to strengthen yourself and not to be lazy. In Chovat HaTalmidim he talks a lot about the problem of laziness for teenagers. Olu mod uval lehitrashel, or to learn diligently without not doing it seriously. Obed eza devar acher, or something else. Chashov, think the following. Here it's interesting. Here it's thinking, not speaking. For this little thing that I'm not successful in, I'm going to lose my spiritual world. Have I reached such a lowly place that I can't overcome one thing to strengthen myself in? מאמץ אני את שארית כוחי ומבעט באבן היצר הרע אשר עלי לרסיסים אפוצצנו. So I'll gather up my strength and I'll give a big strong kick to the yetzer hara, to the evil inclination, and break it into pieces. I think it could be the previous case he was talking about not doing something specifically, something you did that which wasn't proper. In this case, he's not talking about not being able to move yourself upwards in something. It's a slightly different thing. What I wanted to bring out here about the age issue is that if you go to Hachsharat HaAvreichim, his book for married yeshiva students, in chapter 9, part 4, in my edition, it's page 52a, but if you have an edition, it's probably a later one with different pages. So, in there he specifically quotes this, and he says, "Kisham lenarim dibarnu bikar." There we were really speaking to teenagers, to kids, and then he goes on to say that's not applicable to you, and I don't have time to go into here, and we're not learning this now, but you should know that as I said, seemingly over and over again, it seems like we have to realize that if he was talking to a more mature audience, he'd speak differently, and that's exactly the case here. He says, here I quote what I said in Chovat HaTalmidim, that's for kids. You're already an adult, maybe you're even a married student, and you are working on avodat machshava, on sanctifying and developing your service of Hashem through consciousness work, through thought work. And therefore, if you're in the same situation at this later stage, so then the way you work on yourself is not by giving yourself musar and tochacha and yelling at yourself and all of that, and scaring yourself that, you have to pull yourself up before you fall into the depths and all of that, but to work more positively on strengthening yourself through the deeper avodat machshava, through the thought consciousness work, which we can't get into here. But I thought it was important to bring this as a concrete example of where we see that this is not always the same way that he would speak to us as older people. So let us, wherever we're holding, at whatever age physically and spiritually we're holding, find a way to strengthen ourselves to always try to do the right thing and not let the Yetzer Hara get the best of us. Kol Tuv, Shabbat Shalom, be well. Bye-bye.